Okay students, so welcome to the fifth part of the chapter Locomotion and Movement. The human skeletal system is divided into two parts, the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. Now we are going to take axial skeleton, and under that also we are going to take about the skull. So let's begin with the journey of skull. Locomotion and movement. Now we are going to discuss about the axial skeleton. Under axial skeleton, first is skull. Skull. Skeleton of head is called skull. It is anterior most axial skeleton. It is composed of two sets of bones. What are these two sets of bones? First is the cranial bone and then comes the facial bones. Skull, that is the cranium bone. First part is the cranium bone, contains sinuses. Sinuses are air spaces lined with muscular membrane, okay, that reduce weight of skull and give resonant sound to the voice. Cranium, that is the brain box, is formed of 8 bones. They form the hard protective outer covering for the brain. This is the hard protective outer covering of the brain. Then comes the facial region. It is made up of 14 skeletal elements, 14 bones. A single U-shaped bone called hyoid is present at the base of the buccal cavity and is also included in the skull. Each middle ear contains 3 tiny bones. Malleus, in the diagram I am showing you, it is malleus. Incus, you can see here, this is the incus. And third is stapes. Here are the stapes. These 3 together form ear ossicles. This is known as together. These 3 together collectively known as ear ossicles. Cranium is strong. Cranium is firm bony box and it's a helmet-like covering over the brain, which is also known as vault of skull, and a relatively thicker and stronger floor of base upon which the brain rests. Its cavity is known as cranial cavity. Cranium proper of mammals like human beings has 4 distinct zones. What are these 4 distinct zones? Occipital zone, parietal zone, frontal zone and ethmoidal zone. Now, we are going to discuss this with the help of a video. The human skull is made up of 8 cranial bones that surround and protect the brain and 14 facial bones that form the underlying structure of face and support for the teeth, with the exception of the mandible. Okay. The bones of the skull articulate with each other through joints known as sutures. Throughout the skull, holes known as foramina serve as passageways for blood vessels and nerves. Bone on the surface of the skull encase the brain, protect sensory organs and serve as attachment site. These bones include occipital, parietal, temporal, frontal and ethmoidal, as I told you. Okay. The the maxilla, the mandible. Other bones become visible only when looking inside the skull, like now we are looking. The sphenoid bone makes up the anterior face of the cranium. It's a butterfly shaped, you can see the shape, bone with a central body and 2 pair of laterally projecting wings. These wings form portions of the orbit. The body of the sphenoid features depression known as salutosica, which houses the pituitary gland. Located between the orbits, the ethmoid bone makes up a portion of the cranial floor and the roof of the nasal cavity. At an inferior projection, the perpendicular plate of the ethmoidal bone forms part of the nasal septum. Okay, So now we have seen the video, we have understood the concept in precise form. Now let me test your knowledge. Name the 3 tiny bones that make the ear ossicles. I discussed just now. Yes. Malleus, incus and stapes. These are also together known as collectively ear ossicles. How many bones are present in cranium? In cranium, 2 types of bones, cranium bone and the facial bone. In cranium, 8 bones. And vault of skull is also known as? Yes, the cranium. Okay students, so this is all about the human skull. We have seen that the skull consists of 2 types of bones, cranial bones and facial bones. Cranial bones are how many in numbers? Yes, 8. And the facial bones are? Yes, 14 in numbers. We have also seen that how cranial portion is divided into 4 distinct zones. What are those zones? Occipital zone, parietal zone, frontal zone and ethmoidal zone. We have also seen a video with the help of which we have understood what are the locations of different bones on our skull. So it's all about skull. I hope you have understood that clearly. Now let's move on to the next part of the axial skeleton.